What's up, studs and studettes? Here we are with another awesome episode. And I say they're all awesome because I only try to bring on people that can bring you an incredible amount of value. So this is somebody today that I have been watching, learning from kind of from the social media and from behind the scenes, that was lucky enough to meet in person about a month ago in Florida. Kind of found him through Arate a couple of years ago. He's one of the OGs in that group, was a leader among leaders there. And I've just been enjoying watching his journey and his passion, his excitement, his love for wine, which I love as well. But ultimately, this is an individual that I think is destined for some pretty remarkable stuff. I mean, he's accomplished what some would say is incredible so far. And I know for a fact he's just getting started. And I can't wait to dive into some of that today. So, Aaron Nash, thank you for being here, sir.
Yeah, man. Good to be here. If you really want to put the audience to sleep, dude, we can talk about wine for 45 minutes. I really did think about this. I thought about trying to figure out like how to make wine entertaining. And so I spent 2 straight weeks, like just watching and seeing like who was actually like an influencer in wine and like did regular wine content and on what platforms and everything else. And dude, nobody watches any of that shit. It is so boring.
I don't know how Gary Vee did it, to be honest with you. Like he found a way to I think he just never gave up.
Well, dude, but it's also price point too, right? Like I think that's the issue is like a lot of this stuff, even what he sells when he does, because I was a part of his club when it first launched for about 6 months and it was good stuff. But like, I mean, you're dealing with price points that at a certain point, you know what I mean? Like it kind of is what it is. When he launched that into the tech service, I thought that was genius. But as far as just entertainment, just because I enjoyed drinking it and I was like, okay, how can I write this off? Right. Like, so that was my thought process, to be honest with you. But yeah, man.
I'm sure you could find a way to interview people like, around the barrel with Aaron or some shit.
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking is that there's the only way it would work is to have to be like a comedy show / podcast / YouTube. It would be the only way it would work. And you'd have to just get bombed on wine the whole time. And like that'd be the only way. That's the only time people find it fun. So
did you ever see the Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis?
Yes.
And that's exactly
one of my favorite. Yes,
that's one of my favorite shows. All right. So I mean, obviously, Aaron, you're a man of many incredible accomplishments so far. I know you're not anywhere near where you anticipate being or want to be, but why don't you give the audience a little background for anybody who may not know who you are?
Sure. So business wise, I was living in my mom's basement playing World of Warcraft and selling cars and bartending and kind of went through all that after college. And just couldn't really find anything that sticked. Had some issues with drugs and things like that I got clean from. And, it really, one day, my buddy who owned a gym and was opening a gym in my hometown of 10,000 people, he goes, dude, you move back home. Cause I was up out of the way at college. He goes, you move back home. I need help. Like, I don't know anyone else who knows training like you do. He goes, I'm opening this gym. Just come help me. And at that point I was just lost. And the first day I walked in, I remember just being able to help somebody not have back pain. And for me, just seeing somebody who goes at the end of the session was just like almost in tears because she was ready to quit. And she ended up going on to be our first 100-pound lost client. But I don't know what it was about that transaction, man, but like, I realized that I wanted to be a coach and I had the skills to do it and all the knowledge and experience, of decades. I've been working out since 15 and doing all that stuff. So like I've been in the industry for, 18 years, but I've only actually been owning my own stuff for 5 years as of a couple of days ago. So, so I started with him and helped him open his first 4 gyms. And then I got fired and I moved down to Florida because that was the furthest south. I had a buddy who, lived here. And so part of me leaving my job was I got a severance if I just didn't compete with them. Right. Cause it was one of those things where, hey man, like you know too many clients, like you're too good of friends. We grew up here. Like, don't mess with me. I'll give you a bunch of money. Okay. It wasn't a bunch of money, but it was enough money to live on for a year and a half. Right. So I took the money, moved to Florida, had a backer, yada, yada, yada. Some cool stuff happened when we got to open, which I told you at the event when you heard me talk, and I won't go into that story because it's kind of long, but eventually I opened my own gym. And then that was September 26th in 2016. And then we opened the second one 364 days later. So it was September 25th. And then we opened our third one about a year and a half after that. And then during the pandemic, last September, we opened our fourth location. And then also during that pandemic, because we had so much free time due to us being in gyms and then shutting us down, I was able to, rebrand and relaunch and reformulate and redo my entire, practically a brand new supplement line. And then on top of that, we also got through the franchising portion of franchising a business. And for those of you guys who don't know what franchising is, it's very different than opening multiple locations. It's very different than licensing. You have to go through the FTC. It's all federally audited. You have to have all these trademarks. Like there's a ton of laws and a ton of red tape and a ton of paperwork. In lawyer fees, if you have a good lawyer who's not a dick, it's still going to cost you 75 G's just in lawyer fees alone. So if you're thinking about doing it, don't, unless you've honestly, unless you know that like you have a 10-year play, because it's going to take you. It took us about a year start to finish. And I'm told that's one of the fastest that's ever done it. But we had already built the systems. We had already opened multiple locations and been able to incorporate all that stuff. And then we launched franchising mid-February. I brought on my franchising manager March 1st. And since March 1st that he came on, when we officially started like selling till today, we're at 62 units on zero ad spend. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah. And like when you say 62 units makes it sound so small. You didn't sell fucking,
to give you
candy bars, like
right. So I'll put it this way. So I went and did some research, right? And the big names in our industry are like Orange Theory and F45 and Fit Body Boot Camp and Burn Boot Camp and things like that, right? And so we've actually tripled the amount that Orange Theory sold. We've sold more than Orange Theory and F45 did combine their first year, actually, and Burn. So I mean, yeah, like we're for year one, dude, like we're literally setting a historic record, and we're only 8 months in, right? So that's where we truly are now. Granted, the big guys really exploded year 2, 3, and 4. So I'm trying to downplay it to myself already, if you can tell. Like, because I just don't want to get comfortable and say, oh, well, yeah, we set the record year 1, because it doesn't mean shit if it doesn't go anywhere, right? So you'll hear me really downplay however many we're at, because I know that the true explosion growth from these companies came year 2, 3, 4, and 5.
So is that like a ploy that you use for yourself? Like Michael Jordan always talked about like creating a chip intentionally to keep them hungry and keep them motivated and keep them going. Like, so are you doing that to like keep that fire going, keep your burn going? Or like, what's the purpose of downplaying such because most people be like, because 62 units isn't cheap either. You've made a decent amount of money on that so far. Yeah. I know you spent a lot, but so like, what's the intent?
Not really.
Really?
No, dude. Like, so we're building a national HQ that I'm paying cash for. But outside of that, dude, like we don't spend any money on ads. I have my sales manager only gets paid on commission.
Well, I meant last year and like the lawyer's fees and
everything. Yeah. But we're definitely profitable. Yeah. yeah. We're good.
Yeah.
But no, man, it is. I'm a big, like, I'm just a firm believer, man, that like, if I don't have something I'm chasing, I just am not in a good mental space, right? I get anxiety really bad if I don't have something to focus on. If I'm sitting around, I just get weird. Like I just get this weird shit in my head. And so to me, like, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, we're setting records. Okay, cool. Well, we got 4 months left before we're at, 1 year total. Technically it'd be the end of the calendar year, but like, I was like, yeah, but technically it's the end of the year. So even though it's not 12, you know what I mean? I keep trying to find ways to mess with myself. And yeah, man, I think that's definitely just a mechanism I've learned, but it's also the truth, right? Is like, how many stories do you hear about people who do really good for the first little bit and then they just fall off, or they let it go to their head, or there's a million stories like that. There's not a lot of stories of billion-dollar brands in my industry. There's 2, right? There's Orange Theory and there's F45, and they have Tony Robbins and Wahlberg money, right? So like, I'm sitting here like that's the truth. So I'm going, okay, I got a lot of work to do if I'm trying to catch these guys and build a billion-dollar brand.
So what was the catalyst then? So you obviously did a lot. You had a lot in place, multiple locations, systems, processes. I'm sure you had a killer go-to-market strategy with, what you were offering from a package perspective, but what do you think happened that allowed such fast success for somebody with no ad spend, no real marketing per se? You just was like, hey guys, I'm doing this. And people were like, holy shit, he's doing it. We should get on board with that. Like, what do you think caused that?
Well, dude, I can tell you. So what happened was initially I didn't start with my franchise manager. Remember, I told you I started franchising in mid-February, but he didn't come out till March 1st. Mm-hmm. In the first 2 weeks, I was sitting there and we were like, okay, how are we going to get people? Like I had a trainer who wanted one. I had a couple of buddies who wanted one, but I was like, but there was no numbers on my FDD. So for those of you guys who don't know, quick franchising lesson, an FDD is your franchise disclosure document. It's the legal document. And the item 19 is the only monetary money that you're allowed to talk about. If the information is not on the item 19 and the franchisor talks about it, it is illegal as shit. Okay. So you can get sued, your brakes off, right? So we didn't have anything on our item 19 because I didn't want to put our numbers on there. I like it was during COVID and I put our COVID numbers on there. So I put our 2020 numbers on there and I talked to my franchise manager and I said, yeah, man, these are our 2020 numbers. We were closed for 10 weeks. And he looked at them and he manages other franchises. He goes, dude, we're putting these on there. This will sell everything. He goes, people will look at this one time and buy it. And I really didn't know because I didn't know, right? All I knew was like, we were closed for 10 weeks. Yes, we were in Florida. So we probably had a better year than most people just geographically based on where we were. We also crush everything we do. But like, I was like, okay, like whatever, just put them on there. And, we got the first deal, the first 3-unit deal. My trainer had signed up and those 2 deals were done before we started. So that was 4 units right off the get. Right. But it was originally only going to be 2. And then the guy with money, because the trainers still have money. So the guy with not enough, I shouldn't say that, not enough money to buy multiple locations.
Well, I mean, you lived that life for a long time. You know what it's like to be a trainer and not really making.
Dude, the average personal trainer in Florida makes $23,000 a year, and my trainers make between 30 and 100, just between somewhere in there, right? So like I know like they don't have like buy multiple location money. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. Okay. So basically, he saw the numbers and then ended up doing a 3-unit deal instead of a 1-unit deal. And then a couple of my other buddies said, well, hey man, just like introduce me to your guy. I want to go over the numbers. And, they were like, dude, there's no way. Like, we got to go see what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. So they flew down, they came, we did a tour of everything. They were like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. We'll take 12. Right. And then another guy came, okay, shit, we'll take 5. And then like all these deals started coming. And it just kind of spiraled just based on people who I knew and knew my work ethic and knew what I bring to the table as far as what I'm going to do for people. They were like, dude, there's really no other availability of anything like this out there because dude, most of these franchisees, like I was talking to a buddy of mine who owns a massive franchise and like, he didn't even know who a guy was who's like literally doing the construction for most of his buildings. Like he was like, oh, I don't even know who that guy is. And I was like, dude, this guy says he doesn't even know you. Cause I was checking on him because he wanted to invest with me. And he was like, no, dude, I'm building like this, and this for him. I'm like, all right, man. So like most of these guys, it's a dollar sign, right? Like it's an investment business. It is, and I get it, right? Like that is what I'm in. But I was like, dude, I don't do shit that way, right? Like if you were to work with me, dude, like I would take it personal if you don't win, right? Like I would do everything in my power so that when we looked at each other at the end of the day, we would figure out why you're not winning, try to fix it. And if we couldn't, I'm going to be actually probably more pissed off than you, because I know that if I help you win, especially early on in this process, right? And my guys are crushing compared to the national average. Well, dude, they're all going to tell their friends, and all their friends are going to, especially with what's going on with the tax plan that's on the table right now, like it's going to be Captain Hide Your Money pretty quick, right? So like all these guys are going to say, hey, where can I get a good ROI and somebody I can fucking trust?
Yeah.
So that's that's my goal. Right? Like that's the problems I'm trying to solve right now.
So what does that look like for you from an engagement going forward? Because I was kind of curious as to this too, because many of these multi-unit deals, spans out over 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah. Even I have one that's like 5 years.
And so what does that look like for you and your team to support that as, okay, so maybe you sell another 100 next year, and then 3 years from now, you got 600 and you're still dealing with the first 5 you sold when you didn't. like know what was coming. How do you progressionary through that? How are you projecting and planning for that?
Yeah. So, well, the good news is, man, is I'm very good at visualizing where we're going.
Like
If that makes sense.
Picturing it built out.
Right. Right. And the other side of that coin is all of my team, like, because we've grown so fast, like they trust me that when I say I'm going to do something and we're going to go somewhere, like we actually go do that. Yeah. Right. So like I have enough people right now that want more jobs and want more opportunity in our company. Like I've already built positions. As a matter of fact, I have one guy started today, even though we don't have a gym open. Right. Like, and his sole job is to liaison the facility leaders so they don't have to deal with the investment people. Right. So if, as the facility runs, he's their go-to. I have somebody who their admins, like if they have any trouble with the paperwork or anything with their docs or anything with their CRMs or their Shopify or anything, like I've got a guy who's set up for them to do that. So the owner doesn't have to do shit. I've got it set up with the manager. So the manager has somebody they can talk to directly from our team who does the job that they're doing every day. And like, he gets paid extra to do that. Right. So like, and eventually, yes, it will be a full-time position. And that's what we're building right now. Right. So when you're building systems, the number one thing that most people do is they don't look far enough ahead and then they don't reverse engineer it properly. Right. So even like I told my guys, I was like, hey, here's what we're going to do is I'm going to let you do this. And then this other guy wants this job too. So once we hit 20 gyms, you're going to take those 20 gyms and you're going to make 6 figures and you're fucking happy as shit. Right. But then the next guy's going to come up. We're going to figure out what you're doing, make sure your job is where it is and bring him up. And then I'm going to talk with both of you. We're going to make sure that job is perfect before we start really ramping this thing up. And then if you guys can handle more, we'll give you more money. If you can't, cool, we'll just bring on more people. But the thing that a lot of business owners do is they make emotional decisions when they're creating systems or jobs. And they go, hey, we're going to go into this and we're going to do this. And I'm going to hire you, and you're all going to do this. Well, what happens if you fucked up and didn't think about 18 things when you were doing that? And then you have to fire really good people or you don't grow. And all these people who were promised all this growth are now pissed off, right? You lose great people. That's what happens. Period. End of story. You lose great people and you lose credibility. So I found this out when I tried to overgrow my corporate staff a couple of years ago, is we tried to promote this person, and they were going to run everything. Well, it ended up not being necessary. Right. Like it just ended up not being necessary job. So the one person, we never knew where the fuck she was. Like she hated confrontation and you can't manage people without confrontation. Like, so it just was a terrible idea. So we ended up having to move her back down to the position. The other person didn't have the ego to be able to move. So we ended up having to get rid of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I learned the hard way that, especially when you're going into different verticals, if you have great people who want more responsibility and want more money, create another vertical and let them try to test it out and just pay them on performance because they still have enough money to live on. They still have opportunity here. But if they can reach over and grab over here and then jump up, cool. Right. So that's one of the things that's worked really, really well for me. And most people that I teach, kind of the thing that people are like, man, you're really good at is verticals, like integrating verticals. And then obviously systems, culture, visualization, all this shit. But like, I can figure out how to take where you are and make jobs for your team to where they get opportunity without really any risk on your end. And what that creates on the owner's end, obviously, is it doesn't cost you a lot, right? So like I hired that one guy. Well, we only have one gym open and I'm paying him per gym open. So it doesn't cost me shit to find out if I fuck this up in 5 gyms, right? Like it might cost me a few $1,000, but it didn't cost me a great human.
Right.
And that's the most important asset right now, especially in our economy, right? Is, dude, if you have a great team, like you have to keep great people. You have to keep great people. It's the number one asset.
So what I'm hearing from you is something I see a lot of business owners struggle with is basically like you're giving decentralized command to these guys to give them an opportunity to be a part of creating whatever that successful position looks like, right? You're
100%.
You're not building it and putting a person into it and saying, here's what you're doing. How do you hire, onboard, train, hold accountable to give somebody that level of freedom? Because a lot of business owners struggle separating and letting go and letting good people be good people, right? And
right.
How did you figure that out? How do you manage that? How do you set expectations now?
Are you going to record the screen or is this just voice?
It's just voice.
Okay, cool. I'll show you this. So that's literally the job description that I gave him. It's 5 bullet points.
Gotcha.
Okay. So as long as he stays within those parameters and those 5 things are executed, anything else that we come up with is going to be part of the job. But those are the 5 key indicators that I said, okay, if you're doing this, and this, these are your 5 things. If you're doing these, that person's probably getting enough support. Now, I don't know if he's going to be overwhelmed with work in 10 gyms or if he's going to not be overwhelmed with work at 20 gyms. I don't know because we haven't fucking built it yet. So what I'm doing is I told him, I said, hey, I just need transparency, because when you get to the point where you're so busy that you can't do both jobs, we will start transitioning you out, but I don't know when that is. And the money's going to have to shift. So you just be honest with me and let's communicate. Let's figure this out so that we can replicate this job 12 more times. Right. And that's really how I do it. The issue is where most people fuck up is I would tell people, every single person, this is the number one thing they fuck up: interview everybody. Anyone who puts their resume in, interview them, because my resume on paper looks like dog shit. Right. Like, and some of my best, now this guy's resume, honestly, on paper is one of the best that we have at the company, which is funny. But like, for the most part, dude, like I have guys whose resumes sucked. Like I have 2 guys who run facilities on paper, should not be personal training. Comparatively to what, I mean, we have doctorates, we have masters, we have bachelor. I mean, dude, we have shitload of educated people. Yep. These guys are like me, like they don't have shit, but they're 2 of the best human beings on earth. And we wouldn't have found them had we just not have, hey man, oh, okay, there's potential here. There's potential here. Let's just go talk to them. And the problem is people who look at resumes, here's what they do wrong. They judge people based on paper instead of having a conversation with them. The number one skill, especially, and you know this from sales, but if you can't communicate and you're not a good human being, which you can tell by talking to somebody and getting around them, like you can tell vibes, you can tell how people are. Now, yeah, some people are going to slip through, but like you should be interviewing every fucking person, period. Because you never know when you're going to say, man, that dude seems like a really good dude. And you can teach good people skills. You can't teach skilled people to be good people. And I would rather have great
humans on like a coffee mug or something.
Yeah, well, I got a diet Pepsi if that works.
I mean, you gotta put that saying on a t-shirt or something.
I'll work on it. I'm working on a t-shirt. That's another vertical we're going into soon, so don't worry. It'll be there.
The next t-shirt.
but I mean, dude, for real. I mean, but it's truth, right? Like I've learned it because I can take, and I've told our clients this, I can take any one of my clients and I can turn them into a personal trainer, right? Like period, because it's not that hard to fucking learn this shit. The difference is a great coach gets you to want to come back. A great coach gets you to operate in the 23 and a half hours a day that they don't see you. And only great people can do that because great people care enough to follow up. Great people care enough to go out of their way when they're not at work to give a fuck about the client. So that's what we look for. And frankly, we pay better than everybody else. And we have a career opportunity better than everyone else. So we get the best applicants from across the fucking country. My employees are from 16 states, bro.
Yeah, that is, when you told me that's nuts. Because like realistically, and I mean this with all due respect, but like you're a nobody at this point in the game, getting people to move from all over the place with a story and a dream and a mission.
Right.
It's pretty fucking cool to watch, like somebody be able to like attract that much talent in a relocation type environment with like 1% of the journey complete.
Yeah. Well, I'm very good at sales.
But I want to talk about the resumes for a second, because like it's probably been 8 years since I looked at a resume. Like once I found out there are people out there that make money to write people's resumes for them, I'm like, I'm done with this, right? And for me, I've always been of the mindset of, you know, sell me on what you're going to do for me in my company. Like sell me, right? Tell me what, like, hey, this is the goal. This is the vision. This is the mission we're on. Sell me on what you're going to do. One of my employees right now, dude, he hunted me for 6 months trying to just get a phone call. Like he was hunting me because I was like, I don't think this is right. I don't think you're right. And the dude just kept selling me on it, you know? And it's one of those things where the right people will find their way into your ecosystem at the right time. If you try to force it, or you try to like use science and resumes and shit like that, you don't, like you said, have that interpersonal part of it. But I'm more worried about what you're going to do for me going forward than what you've done to date so far? Because again, good leadership, good communication, I can turn people into kind of whatever I want them to be if they have good values and a good person.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you this, and again, resumes are, there's such a catch-22, and I don't really look at a lot of ours anymore. But when I look at our people, because I have my best friend, who's our president of my gyms now, he was actually the guy who I moved down here from Fort Myers because he's the closest guy. Like he hires everybody now, but like when we go to promote people, like it's so obvious when you're around these people, like what we do and who we go after now, and like what we're willing to do and what we're not. But again, here's the other side of it is we're one of the only companies who are growing right now. It's in our industry, especially, right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Dude, everybody else is just hacking off labor and firing people and closing down and everything else. And like, dude, that we're on 1,000% offense, and that excites people, right? So like
a lot of really good talent in the marketplace right now, looking for opportunities for growth.
It's the best opportunity on earth to get great talent at affordable prices that I've ever seen in my life. Now, yes, these people are going to perform and they are going to get paid. And again, my goal, one of my missions was, so when I'm selling my dream to people, right, I want to have more 6-figure employees or team members in the fitness industry and what we do than anyone else combined. I really do, because I know that if I have 1,000 employees making 6 figures, I'm doing great.
Yeah, you're doing just fine, sir.
Right. So, but again, so are they, so are their families. They can go, hey, whatever you got to do, like, let's figure that out. But the other side of the coin is what a lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs don't understand is people grow up and their life changes too as they go through life. So one of the reasons that we are building some of these jobs is because that way they're not 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then you miss every kid's soccer game at night, right? Like, we're trying to build careers so that these people may have to make a horizontal shift financially, but the hours might be more suitable for them too, for when their kids come and when they have families and when they're, you know what I mean? So the other side of the coin that I think a lot of CEOs don't look at as well is they don't project, okay, if I have these great people that are the heart and soul of my company, what are they going to need in 3 years? What are they going to need in 5 years? Right. And just sit down and think about it. It's not fucking complicated. We all know what the answers are, but most people don't. And then they get pissed off when that person takes a job working the front desk at JCPenney instead of making more money for you. But dude, you know what? If they can go to every kid's soccer game and that's important for them, dude, you know what? You better figure that out or you're going to lose a great person.
How did you learn to visualize and think forward like that? Like, I don't think it's not like it's a learned skill set. It's something that you have to, like, you can train and you can work on, you can figure out. How did you figure that out? Because I think a lot of people listening are probably struggling with, how do I believe the thoughts? Because I second guess myself all the time. And how do I visualize in a way that I can believe and take action on? And so how did you figure that part of the process out?
I don't do it alone.
Okay. That's a great piece of advice. Son of a bitch.
So, well, dude, like, everything that we create, like, I do not make a decision myself, period. I might own whatever, like, you can list the cool shit I've done and it, it makes my, my dick look longer, but that's about all it does. Like, the truth is, everybody that I'm around, I get advice from. Anytime we're creating jobs, I get them involved. Anytime we're creating core values, I don't create those. We do. I might have input and I might say, well, hey guys, what are we missing on here that's like a little bit bigger, right? And I might throw my 2 cents in. And I know a little bit about a little bit of shit, but like, for the most part, dude, I say, hey, what would make sense? Like, I'll tell you this is probably some inside information that I shouldn't share, but I'm gonna. Okay. It's like,
Let me know later. I can delete it.
No, we're good. So we're looking at our bonus structures for next year. Cause this year, with 2021, dude, we set it up in January, February, thinking, all right, we're everything's back open. We're going to blah, 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 blah. And we all know what happened in 2021. It was not that, right? It was, let's see how much Biden can smash everybody in America. So that, what I really wanted to do was, have them have a percentage of profit if we hit certain metrics. Well, obviously what we thought was going to happen in January versus where we are today, yep. 2 very different things. So it worked out in my favor because they're not probably going to hit those metrics. Like, just because when we all agreed on them, we're like, yeah, like, here we go, blah, blah, blah. But now that we've been through this for a little bit, going into next year, we're probably going to have tiered ways for the teams to hit profit sharing, right? And one of the things that I truly believe in is if you're winning, give your team a piece of that winning, right? Like, dude, like I'm one of those people. If you give me $100, like if you make me $100, dude, I'm not one of those CEOs who's going to say, man, I hope let's see if I can keep 93 or 94 or 90. Dude, I'm going to give you 30, $40 back. Because you know what? I'm going to eat. I'm fine. Like I grew up on a couch at 10K, dude. I'm good. Like my house is good. We're good. But like you guys, hey, if you're winning and you're making more money and you're actually seeing the fruits of your labor, guess what you're going to do? You're going to take ownership. You're going to believe everything that we talk about. We're going to make this thing work together. We're going to set a path that we're going down together. And then we're going to visualize that path. And every time we talk, I'm going to fucking shove that vision down your throat because that's where I'm going. Either you're going to be with me or you're not, but we're going that way. And I think I was
gonna ask, like, what's that line? Because like you give a lot of input to the people on your team, right? Which is awesome. But then like you're also driving a very aggressive mission, right? So you give them input, and is it like once everybody agrees, like I'm holding you accountable now, and we're gonna push hard, or like what's that balance point between like, okay, we're making these decisions as a team, but I'm also gonna be like a hard guy to, we're on a hard push, we're doing a lot.
Dude, I'm not a hard guy to work. If you ask anybody that works for me, that's worked for me for a long time, I can be an asshole. Give it. However, there's not a person on my team that doesn't know 100% that if we were going to war, they'd want me in their fucking corner.
Yeah.
Period. Because I'll fucking kill everybody for you. Like if we're going to war, dude, and it's me and I've got your family on my back, dude, you're on the right side. Trust me. Because if I go down, dude, we're all going down. So like, that's just the kind of guy I am. So the problem is, man, is and this is one of the things that I'm probably the worst at, is controlling the aggression.
Okay.
Right. When it comes to that kind of mission type stuff and the visualization stuff, but I also don't share with them everything, right? Like they don't need to know everything. They just need to know enough of where we're going and why it's important that we get there. Okay. They don't need to see the entire machine because frankly, A, none of them care, right? Some of them might, but most of them don't. And B, it's going to confuse them. And C, if your brain's not ready to handle the word billion-dollar brand, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to happen. Like, dude, that's like people throw out that B word like candy today. And dude, that is a 1,000 millions. Like people don't understand that. That's 1,000 millions. Like write out 1,000,000 1,000 times.
No, like literally just put 1,000 ones on a desk.
Right. See how long that takes you. Yeah. And that's how many millions you have to figure out how to make. Right. And people don't get that. So like it is a massive machine and it really involves a lot of different aspects. And like as you evolve and you add more verticals, like cool, there's more opportunity. But they have to, and I told them this at a team meeting, dude. Like I said, hey, this is where we're going. I gave everybody a 5% raise because of inflation this year at the last team meeting, because I was like, this is bullshit. And our gyms, like, are we doing good? Yeah. But has the growth been where we thought it was going to be compared to January? Hell no, dude. Like our economy, like in the fitness industry is just, dude, it's rough. It's rough. So, like it's hard to grow when you're at the point of where we are, like substantially. Like you're not going to have a 30, 40, 50% year. Like you're just never going to have that in brick and mortar moving forward. I don't think. Now I could see after you've been in business for so long, right? Because there's only so many people you could geographically draw on.
Right.
So for us, it's about that mission, but then it's about me telling them the truth of, hey, listen, I put everything I have back into this thing. Now it might not be into the gyms, but it's going to be into your opportunities.
Right. Yeah. You're on and I'm plugging things in and adding things to make us better.
Right.
And, I'm upgrading it at the mission as we go.
But,
you're gonna be a part of that.
But if you're teaching them, dude, like how this shit really works, and I think that's so important, is teaching your team financial shit and like how investing works and how building businesses actually works and the patience it actually takes, right? Because again, all my guys are like the average age of my staff's probably 25, 24 probably.
Oh yeah.
Like
dude.
Right, dude. They think patience is 6 months. And I'm like, no, bro, no. Like they get pissed off when I'm like, hey, we're going to do this. And then like at our team meeting, I was like, hey, we're right on track to do this. And they're like, dude, it's been 10 months. I go, yeah, 2 years, we're gonna be right where we want to be. And they're like, huh? like, dude, like they're just like, why can't we just do it now? And I'm like, you guys just don't get it. But again, like I'll sit down and I told them like, hey, listen, if you saved, I asked one of my employees, because I always want to make sure that when they see, us at the Bucks game or some of the shit that we do, I don't want them to think that I'm spending their money. Yep. Right. So like, I'll tell them, hey man, if you made 60 grand this year with me and you put 20 grand away and you took your, entire family on a vacation here or did this, am I entitled to go on that vacation with you? Or like you bought a house, do I get part of that house? Or is that your money because you worked for it? No, that's my money. Okay, cool. So if you see me take some of my money and reinvest it in this other business and that business is fucking killing it, I want to put you over here, but you're not entitled to this shit at all. Like you didn't build this. This is me. Right. And so that's why I build everything the way that I build it is 100% on me and my wife first before we bring other people in, is so that I know how this ship and how this rocket works before I ever bring somebody else in the rocket. Right. And I think that's so like, dude, to this day, literally this every fucking day, which is I'm blessed to have the problem every day. Right. But every day I load up all the orders. I write every note. I fill every box. I tape every box. I bring them to the UPS store or the post office every fucking day.
You're
every
doing
day.
That?
Every day. We have 0 fucking employees and we've had over almost 3,000 orders. Like every day. We are the only 2 people and people are like, oh, dude, you should hire that out. You should, your time's better spent. Dude, fuck you. You ain't built shit. Like the reason that we're doing this is that way our HQ, we can pay rent. Is so at our HQ, when I want to bring on people who manage our social media or manage the app we're working on or manage this other shit, I have the cash to do that because I sacrificed today. The other thing is that I know, how do I build packing jobs? How do I build warehouse jobs? How do I build well, I know because I've fucking done it thousands and thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where I think most people fuck up is they try to build all this shit for their teams without building it first. And then they spend their money on lifestyle shit and then their team gets resentful. Right. So like, oh dude, I took my family on a jet to the Bahamas. Like, cool, man. I did that shit too. Except I did it because I bought ETH Bitcoin and then sold it for a bunch more and I had to get rid of the money. Right. Like, so that's how I did it. You know what I mean? But like people need to understand that is some of your employees, that's why you get resentment is you take your foot off the gas and they don't think you're working as hard for them as they are for you. And that's the clash that causes great people to leave. And my number one thing, dude, every time I talk is how do we make great people stay and how do we make more great people part of this mission? And it's again, dude, put yourself in their shoes. When you were working for somebody, when you were a bartender, when you were doing whatever, when you were selling other people's shit, like what did you hate about the other side? And I ask them. That's what most people don't understand. Is I'll be like, hey man, like what about your job do you hate? Yeah, I hated that when I did it too. Because I did it. Yeah. Right. Well, how do we solve that? How do we solve this? Well, what would your job look like if it could be a career? How would you get paid? How would we escalate this? We could do this. And then you know what? They built their own fucking job. I just have to go let them do it.
And it's amazing how few people just go ask the questions. Like people do it with like their customer base too. They'll create something they think is perfect without actually asking the customer base what they're looking for. And like 9 out of 10 times you're going to fail if you don't get feedback from the person you're trying to like build something for, whether it's a business, a product, a service. I see it happen all the time. Like they put all this time, money, and effort into building this thing before they ask anybody what they're looking for. And then it doesn't work or doesn't sell. And they're like, but it was perfect. I'm like, compared based on who?
Compared to what?
Based on whose opinion? Yours?
Well, dude,
you think it's perfect.
It's an emotional decision. And this is where I get pissed off with entrepreneurship is people like, I've got a guy who works for me and I love him to death, but the motherfucker does this every 6 months and he's going to do it again. Right. Where it's just like, I got this idea and I'm going to fucking tell the world about this idea before I've ever logically sat down and figured out how the fuck this idea is scalable. Right. Like, and then they start their thing and then it falls on their fucking face. And then 6 months later, they're doing something else. And then it falls on their face. And then 6 months later, like, you know what? We know all these people because they do it all the time. Mm-hmm. Just stop being emotional and start logically figuring this shit out. Like, okay, how does this scale? Who do I need to bring on? What is their job going to look like? Like, and you just do it and do it and do it. And dude, people just don't understand how simple it is. You just can't make emotional business decisions. You can't. As much as you might think you have a good idea, just like you just said, you have to literally look and say, is there actually a problem that I'm solving by having this product in the marketplace? And if so, here's the other part. Who's solving it better? Right? Like for me, when I looked at the other franchises, I said, man, like they do a good job at this, but I said, they gouge you on royalties. They gouge you on all the companies you have to use. I'm not going to go into the names or anything, but I was like, there's a huge opportunity there. And then I looked at this one and I was like, they don't even have any fucking systems. And then I looked at the other one and I was like, okay, well, they're really good at marketing, but they have no idea who their ideal client is. So that's why their gyms are so fucked, because they don't know who they're targeting. I was like, okay, so we know this, we take this, we fill these holes. Okay. And I studied for 8 years, everyone else in the game before I launched my franchise. I said, okay, we're going to beat them on price. We're going to beat them on systems. We're going to beat them on solutions. We're going to make it the 4 seasons of investment portfolio, because these people are going to be taken care of, because I'm going to hire people who actually take care of the owner. Nobody does that. And we're not going to sell single individual units to people who throw their money all in and pray to God it's their fucking one business that works. Right? Like, because again, those people aren't probably business people yet. But if you make a shitload of money in something else, you at least have a business acumen and success track record somewhere. And again, we don't do single unit deals ever. Like I have one guy and he was my trainer. The reason we don't do it is because, again, great people don't stay in single unit deals. Why? Because there's no upward mobility for them. So if you're going to pay them 6 figures as an investor, you're not going to have any fucking profit left. So if you can't build a great career for somebody, who's going to build that business for you? Nobody.
Yeah.
And these idiots just, oh, you want to give me 40 grand? Oh, you want to give me 60 grand? Oh, you want to give me this money? Oh, okay, here. And they take their money. I don't need it. Right. So like, that's why I started, is because I didn't need to. Like, I'm good without that shit. But if I'm going to do this, I'm going to make sure that they understand, hey, what we do first and foremost is we do culture and we build great employees. So if they don't have opportunity because you're not buying enough units, this shit ain't going to work. Like, you're never going to get great people. And if you don't want to work it every day, which you've told me you don't, so I have to solve that problem for you, right? That's the problem that I'm solving is, okay, then we have to spend a little bit of that ROI to get some great people in here who can have great careers inside of our company. And even our awards banquets we're working on, dude, like it's going to be fucking insane. And we're never going to award a franchisee shit. We're only ever going to award coaches, because that's what the truth is of our industries. Those are the great people. Those are the ones who build the shit. Those are the people who matter. So when we do all this shit, dude, like it's only ever going to be about them.
Yeah, I mean, without the customer facing employee, like there is nothing to make money from.
In our industry, think about this. In our industry, annual turnover rate for a personal trainer is 80 to 90% annually. Wow. How do you build a relationship when 80 to 90% of your staff is gone year over year?
Dude, that is incredible. That's the real stat.
That's the real stat. You know what ours is cumulative over 5 years?
I bet it's really good.
14%.
Fucking ridiculous.
Right. So why do we win? Because my coaches have relationships with our clients.
Dude, 80 to 90%.
It's insane.
That is nuts.
You can go Google it right now. Personal trainer turnover rate. Go Google it. It's 80 to 90% in the US.
Because you're a numbers guy. I've seen it.
I'm a nerd.
You're obsessed.
I'm a nerd.
You're obsessed. 80. Like, how do you run a business that way? You're just hiring. Dude, you're just hiring bodies at that point. You can't even hire good employees. You just got to hire bodies.
That's why none of them win.
Yeah.
That's why none of them win. People are like, what are you doing? I got to send all my people down. No, motherfucker, you don't pay your people. Fuck you. Like, it don't matter what I teach them. I could teach them everything in the book, but they're going to be gone in 6 months.
Working for me.
Probably. If they're any good in the fitness. But like, dude, it's
just like any industry though. I mean, like you know, I'm a business coach, man. I get it. There's a lot of business coaches out there. And it's exhausting, you know, going up against some people that are just like, I'm not knocking anybody. It's just like any industry. You have the 80-20 rule. 80% of good coaches are in the 20%. And, it's just like anything else. It's hard to keep good people for long periods of time when you're not compensating them or taking care of them or making them feel appreciated. And clearly you have a game plan.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not complicated. It's again, if you know,
it's not to you because you fucking care. For people who don't, or just worry about money, it's complicated.
Yeah. But if you don't care about people, you're going to worry about money.
100%.
If you care about people, you don't need to worry about money.
I built a business around that.
Right.
Just like you did. We just do it differently.
Right. But, dude, everybody I've ever met who's successful in any industry does that one thing.
I was doing this for free before I ever got paid to do it.
Dude, I told my people this, if you took away all the money in the world and gave everybody equal money, right? Which is what they want to do anyway. But like, let's say you did that, I would be rich again in 5 years because I would work for everybody for free just so I could get them a result. And I'd go find all the fat people and I'd go get them and I'd work with them for free. But I'd say, hey, the only stipulation is I get to document your journey. And I'm going to do that for a year. Then I'm going to work with 30, 40, 50 people. I'm going to help all of them get results. And then you know what? Then I'm going to open my fucking business and I'm going to crush everybody. Everybody else will be trying to get $1 or $2 from everybody else. No. I understand the value of this dollar right now. Work for me for free. And it would take me 2 years to build my brand, but I would fucking open and I would crush. And that's what people don't get, dude, is like, they want to start something and then get sales right now. They want to start something and without any track record, they open pages and they think starting a business is launching a fucking Instagram page, right? Like that's not a fucking business. That's it. I can do that right now and I can sell butt plugs right now. Like I can just put Aaron's butt plugs.
Influencer. Don't you understand the power of Instagram?
I will kill you.
You're such a jerk.
Dude, but I like, here's the thing. And I don't brag a lot. Right. Like I really like I'm not somebody who's
no, your work does it for you. You don't really know.
I think I'm one of the best people at branding on earth. And I think my track record proves it.
I'll challenge anybody to come to the table and challenge that.
If you look at what I've done with zero ad spend, I really truly think so far I am one of the best branding influencers on earth. Only because, and like I've told the story before, right, is the difference between the dishwasher and the dude whose dad ran 14 restaurants. Everybody who's watched me on social media has watched me go from the bottom to every level job in between. I started working in the mornings, and then I started working in the evenings, and then I started training clients, and then I started doing their nutrition, and then I did a bodybuilding show, and then I did supplements, and then I started managing a gym, and then I started doing fat loss, and then I started managing that gym, and then I opened another one, and then I opened another one, and then I owned my own, and then I opened 2, and then I opened 3, and then I did a supplement company, then I did a franchise company, then I opened 4. Like, so they've watched my body of work over 5 years. That's how you build a brand. You cannot build a brand in 6 months, period. It is impossible. You have to have real, tangible, documented results of the actions that you take for years and years and years, consistently in the same place to become an influencer at anything, period. It is, if you look at Gary Vee, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, all these guys, all they did was document the shit they did in the real world. That's all that they do. They document the real shit
for a period of time. I think that's
for a fucking long time.
Right. Because
right. And then
so many people are fly by night, right? They're here today. They're gone. Like every 6 months, they're pitching a new MLM. And I'm not knocking MLMs, but like, there's only so many times you can be like all about a new product every 6 months where people are, whatever you say, I don't believe you because you were just as passionate about the last 3 things you tried to sell me.
But dude, that's what happens though. And then you erode the trust, and then it becomes exponentially harder for you to get started the next time. I've known since I was I tell everybody this, if you want to really do something, I want you to sit down and write a contract to yourself, say, I'm going to do this for 3 to 5 years, every fucking day for 3 to 5 years. If you are not ready to sign that contract that says, no matter fucking what, for 3 to 5 years, I'm going to do this every day, then you are not passionate about what you're really trying to do. It's an emotional decision and you haven't thought about it enough. And again, if you do that, you're not going to erode the trust of people. If you say, hey guys, I'm just doing this and I want to work with you for free. I want to do this for free. I'm really good at this. I need 5 people who I can help for free. If I don't help you, fuck off. If I help you, I just want to be able to have you share that help. That's the only fee I'm charging. I just want your social proof. Social proof. That's it.
Well, man, it's even how I'm sitting down at tables with you and Sean Henry and these other guys. Like, I've been doing the same shit for over 3 years. And
and you're just now starting to catch traction.
Period. And like, there was never a question. There was never a plan B. There was never, this is what I'm doing. I'm going out there to fucking help people. I'm going to change people's lives. I'm going to help their businesses. And I didn't expect to be in the rooms I'm in with the money I have or like the experiences I'm having right now. And I'm not done, but it's like the game plan every day hasn't changed. I still did 10 hours of fucking coaching calls yesterday. Like I'm still doing the thing on a daily basis because I'm just that passionate about it.
Right. Well, dude, I'll tell you what I'm doing at 3:00. I have 2 team members who really want my time. So I'm doing 2 Zoom calls with my team members at 3 and at 3:30 because they're good fucking people and I don't get to see them enough. And so they wanted 20 minutes of my time. Fuck yes, you can have 20 minutes of my time. Why? because that's my job. My job is to make sure that you understand that I fucking give a fuck about you. I want to know where you want to go so I can help build that shit for you. But here's the thing though, is if we make that promise to each other, dude, I'm working. Like if we make the promise, if I'm talking to my people and I say, hey, I want this, they say this. Okay, cool. Let's go fucking do it. I'm going to go do my part and you ain't going to beat me. I'm not going to work. Like you're going to end up getting outworked for the shit you want by me. And that's my goal every day. Is I want my team to say, dude, that's our fucking leader. Not that's my boss. That's our fucking leader. That dude is the tip of the fucking spear. And I'm good with that.
I can't wait to see where you're at in 3 to 5 years, man. I just can't wait.
Dude, I will be $1 billion company in 5 years.
I zero doubt. I'm going to send you a shirt. I have shirts to say zero doubt on them because I think it's so important.
I need one of those winning hats.
You like one of those big win hats? I'll send you one.
Yeah, I can't wear flat bill forward because I have a goofy ass head, so I got to turn it around. But yeah, I saw your hat when it said win. I was like, I gotta get one of those. That's my number one core value, bro.
No, I love it. Those are the big win hats, man. I was like, well, I went to my guy. I was like, I want a hat that says win on it as big as you can make it because I want to call it the big win hat.
Yeah,
and I'll send you one. I'll send you one, and I'll send you a shirt.
All right.
Real quick, I know you got like a hard stop, so do I. But like, you want to spend 5 minutes talking about KLM?
Sure, man. Yeah. Actually, dude, we got some cool shit coming up, man. We're actually working on an art auction, and we've had like 10 badass art. Like, dude, if I showed you this one of one Elon Musk, that one of these dudes, dude, like I told everybody else, I was like, I don't even think we're gonna auction. I'm just gonna buy that motherfucker myself. Like, it is dope.
What's the reserve? What's the reserve? I'll tell you.
Right, dude. Yeah. Like, so we're working, but what we're really doing, dude, man, is like, so we, between Sean, because Sean's a big art guy, John's a big art guy, I didn't even know it. And we have like 6 or 7 people that help us with KLM for free. Is we were like, okay, how do we raise a bunch of money? So, we're doing a sale on all our apparel this month. First sale we've ever done. It's like 15 off. KLM is the code. If you just go to projectklm.com, you can get any of the gear that you want.
KLM stands for Kids Lives Matter. It's an organization that supports.
Yeah, it's the best marketing name on earth. Although you have to be really careful when you're wearing that shit in certain places. Cause like, I always forget when I've got like Kids Lives Matter written across my chest. And like people will be like, are you an asshole? Like, you know what I mean? Cause like that name really caught fire. Cause obviously we released it when it was the Black Lives Matter shit and everything else. So like, but yes, it's a trafficking organization. So we help survivors of trafficking. We donate a bunch of money to the extraction teams. We try to do everything we can for child trafficking because it's probably the most disgusting thing I've ever had to hear stories about in my life. But what we're working on is we got like 10 to 12 artists that really want to donate pieces of art, and we're going to auction them off. So probably the end of the month, beginning of November, somewhere in there. So if you guys need like badass birthday gifts or if you know people who really like art, just follow Project KLM on Instagram or on Facebook. Join our email subscriber list. We only email out really what we're doing and stories of survivors. And the problem obviously with social media is everything that we post gets throttled because it's about human trafficking. So if you want to hear some of the crazy stories of like victims that we're helping and how we're helping them with your guys' donations, you can do that. We don't take $1 from it. So Sean and I founded it. We literally have never and will never take $1 from it. We built it to be dollar for dollar. So we want every single dollar to go back to these victims and to go to running the organization. And that's what we do with 100% of the proceeds. So we don't use it like a lot of these guys use their charities where it's, I'm going on this jet and I'm going to talk about my charity, so I'm going to write it off. Like, we don't do any of that shit with your money. Every dollar, even your shipping fees. So if you buy anything on our store, even the shipping fees I pay out of my pocket from my gyms. So every single order, I pay the shipping fees and pack the boxes myself, like literally by myself. I pack every single fucking box of KLM gear because it's upstairs in my loft right now till our HQ is done. But yeah, man, we've helped almost 100 victims so far. And it's some of the saddest shit you've ever heard. And I just have a really soft spot for, obviously I have 2 kids. And I can't imagine having your child taken at that age. And then what they do to these kids, like, dude, it would ruin, like, I would be a villain from a superhero movie. Like, if you did that shit to my kids, like, it would be like a Halloween movie all over.
The Punisher. I can see you being the Punisher.
Oh, dude, I would destroy everything. But dude, some of these stories are just the most unbelievable stuff. Like when I heard some of them, man, like I had to like, I remember the first one. I'll tell you this one, and I don't want to end on this, but you know, like the one that really made us decide to do it was one of the girls that was involved, and she goes into the underground city in Vegas all the time. And there was a 4-year-old that they found in a dumpster who had been like raped like 30 times, a young boy. And my son at the time was 4. And I remember just hugging him going, dude, I just had no words. I was like, we have to do something. So that's what we did. You know, and we launched that organization because I have a ton of free time to do that shit. But we do it every single week. Every single person volunteers 100% of their time. We have some absolute rock stars on that team who just do so much work, and it's been a great thing. So if you guys want to help out with that, cool. You know, we do a lot of stuff with aftercare, like you know, therapies, lawyer fees, rent. We do a ton of like safe house paying and travel and transportation, stuff like that. And honestly, the last few months, victims have been going, we've been getting more and more and more, obviously with everything going on. So we've seen a huge influx in victims. Luckily, we have some very, very generous people who donate a lot of money to our charity. But our goal with this auction coming up is we really want to be able to fund the entire next year of that. So
That could be an online or an in-person thing.
No, we're going to do it online. Yeah. So yeah. And then we'll have the artists ship it out themselves probably. We're working on maybe doing an in-person thing in Sean's gym in Florida when it opens, maybe with a few of the pieces. But dude, some of these artists that have came on board, dude, are just donating some absolute fire. Like some of this stuff. I'm like, dude, I want that. And I'm just really blessed that we have such an outreach of people and such a huge network of support. And we've never had to beg for a dollar. If you know, we've never been to the point where we have so many proposals that we don't have enough money for it, which is a blessing. So, you know, thank you to everybody who has followed that and who donates to that. That's a huge, huge thing for us. So, you know, just want to make sure everybody knows how grateful we are for their support on that.
Well, I appreciate the work you're doing. Obviously, my wife and I started, you know, Champion Shoes last year to support kids who can't get shoes for school and sports and stuff like that. And obviously not as trauma-based situation, but there's a lot of like kids out there just don't have the confidence to even show up. And, you know, we're hoping to create champions and give them confidence, be able to go into school and go onto sports fields and be able to like believe they're capable of something. And I think there's a lot of kids out there that don't feel like they're worth much. And we're hoping to play a little role in making a difference there. So
absolutely.
Well, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the stories today. I mean, I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm honestly, man, I look up to you, and it's been incredibly impressive what you've been able to pull off. And I know you're setting records and you got this chip on your shoulder, and that $1 billion number is going to be here before you know it. And I can't wait to watch it happen.
Thanks, brother. Dude, I just want to say it's been really cool to meet you as well. There's not a lot of guys, especially in the speaking space, that I actually enjoy being around. So, you know, when I followed you around for a couple of days unknowingly, that was awesome. And I was appreciative of that. So I'm excited to, you know, have this friendship continue.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I'll see you. I guess I'll see you in Miami next at the Arte Summit event.
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
All right. Sounds good, buddy.
Later.
See you.